On World News Tonight this Monday, when the billionaire banker was murdered in Monaco, it wasn't as everyone speculated. No Russian crime ring involved. It was the nurse who did it. What has gone wrong on Mars? Why can't NASA get in touch with its spacecraft that landed last Friday? If so many students are not able to meet a set of academic standards, is it the students' fault, or should the standards be lowered? We'll take a closer look. And nervous about Y2K? How do you think they were with Y1K?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening and welcome to a special Northwest edition of World News Tonight here on Channel 2. Yes, it was apparently the nurse who did it. Almost as soon as the billionaire banker Edmond Safra was murdered in Monaco on Friday, investigators in Europe, the Middle East, and the United States began to speculate that it was the work of organized crime in Russia. Safra, who was born in Lebanon, had recently been cooperating with American authorities investigating various Russian syndicates. And the fire that killed him was seen as retribution. In fact, it was an American nurse. ABC's Mike Lee reports tonight from Monaco on a crime that went devastatingly wrong.
Edmond Safra was buried in Switzerland today, a funeral attended by international bankers and politicians. About the same time, one of Safra's trusted employees was making a stunning confession.
Monsieur Maher a avoué ce matin.
The announcement came from a Monaco prosecutor who said that Safra's American nurse, Ted Maher, set the fire, that he alerted a security guard, believing that firemen would put out the flames before they spread to his boss's room, and that he stabbed himself to make it look as though he had fought off intruders. It was a bizarre twist to a story which began Friday with initial reports that two masked gunmen had forced their way into Edmond Safra's penthouse apartment, stabbed a nurse, the only eyewitness, then set the fire. But investigators now say that was all a lie made up by Maher, and that he did it all so he could take credit for resolving an emergency he created. Investigators say Maher also felt rejected by co-workers and wanted to gain their respect. And they say he may have wanted to impress a female nurse with whom he had a minor relationship. In his confession, Ted Maher said he never wanted to harm Edward Safra, that he was an excellent employer. As for all the talk of a wider plot, prosecutors now say there was none, that they believe Ted Maher acted alone. Mike Lee, ABC News, Monte Carlo.
At the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, there were a lot of depressed and disappointed scientists and engineers tonight. We give them this. Maybe we've all seen so much animated video of successful Mars missions, not to mention other great feats in space, that we have come to expect it was going to be this easy. But the Mars Polar Lander has been out of touch for 3 days now, and the $165 million spacecraft may no longer be useful. Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
Whatever went wrong on the Martian surface, engineers on Earth cannot find out.
We're pretty much reaching the point where we've used up our final silver bullets.
When the landing time came and went on Friday, controllers assumed the problem was straightforward. Perhaps the ship's main antenna failed to aim at Earth. But commands to repoint it went unanswered.
4-3 and 4-5 are continuing to look for the one-way signal unsuccessfully.
One by one, they knocked the best possibilities off their charts. Could there be a problem on Earth? Could they make the lander restart its computer? Could the lander send signals through a backup antenna? No luck.
Have you heard any news on if we're getting any data?
No, I have not heard any news.
How did they get in this fix? Sheer bad luck? Or was the problem on Earth? Perhaps some flaw in the ship that NASA, forced to cut costs, never noticed. 5 years ago, after some billion-dollar failures, NASA decided to make its probes what it called faster, cheaper, better. Smaller spacecraft, less bureaucracy. But some engineers think too many safety checks were canceled along the way.
In the end, a project that doesn't work is no bargain at any price.
But tired controllers remind us that landing on Mars is very hard.
The line between being successful and being not is a very fine one.
If there's no signal tonight from the lander, engineers will keep trying for 2 more weeks. But a signal now, they say, would be one of the great surprises of the space age. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
In Fort Gibson, Oklahoma today, a 13-year-old boy shot 4 other students with a semi-automatic pistol at their middle school. He was caught by a teacher almost immediately. None of the students he shot appeared to have life-threatening injuries. When police asked the boy why he opened fire, he said he did not know. The aircraft maintenance company Sabertech has been found guilty of improperly packaging the oxygen canisters, which investigators say caught fire and caused the ValueJet crash in 1996 that killed 110 people. It is the first time that a maintenance company has faced criminal charges in connection with an American air disaster. The company and 2 employees were acquitted of conspiracy charges. The Treasury Department is being criticized for its conduct in a lawsuit involving millions of dollars that may belong to Native Americans. They sued the government, saying that it mismanaged money from land leased from their ancestors in the 1880s. Today, investigators said the department waited months before admitting it had shredded potential evidence in the case and that lawyers made misleading statements. The Supreme Court has agreed today to hear a case involving one of the most basic rights that millions of Americans believe they have, the right to hear their rights from the police before they are questioned. ABC's Terry Moran tonight on a major effort to overturn the Miranda ruling.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
It's a constitutional ritual. Ever since convicted rapist Ernesto Miranda had his case thrown out by the Supreme Court in 1966 because police did not tell him he had the right to remain silent, the Miranda warnings have dramatically changed American police work, some say for the worse. Miranda hamstrings the police and lets criminals go free, argues former federal prosecutor Paul Cassell.
It's clear that Miranda has prevented the police from solving tens of thousands of violent crimes each year, and so it's had a devastating effect on law enforcement.
Cassell claims statistics show a dramatic drop in the number of convictions for violent crimes in the decades after Miranda was decided. His opponents say many factors contributed to that drop in convictions and argue that Miranda is still needed.
Without the Miranda system, police could be encouraged to grill and pressure suspects even after they've said they want to be left alone.
Miranda's supporters also claim that even today, police routinely try to evade the law by grilling suspects relentlessly. That's one reason why some veteran law enforcement officials think the Miranda ruling is still necessary.
It's a control over police behavior. One thing I know about cops, you need to control their behavior.
The case the justices agreed to hear today stems from a Virginia bank robbery where the suspect voluntarily confessed before police read him his rights.
The question before the Supreme Court now, should the jury hear that confession, or should the defendant go free on what Miranda's critics have for decades called a technicality? Terry Moran, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, Senator John McCain stumping for an upset. And the troubling results of higher academic standards in schools. If the students cannot meet them, what then? We'll take a closer look.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Zyban.
You are in the fight of your life. Just you against your smoking addiction, one-on-one. Trouble is, it's not a fair fight, and few people win it. But you can give yourself a fighting chance to win with Zyban. Zyban doesn't work for everyone. Zyban is part of a comprehensive program from your doctor to help you stop smoking. It's different from nicotine replacements. Zyban is the only prescription medicine that's nicotine-free, so you don't have to stop smoking all at once. As Zyban reduces your cravings, you feel like smoking less and less until you're ready to stop completely because you're ready to win. You should know there is a risk of seizure associated with Zyban. To reduce the risk, don't take Zyban if you have or have had a seizure or eating disorder, or if you take Wellbutrin. Don't take Zyban if you use an MAO inhibitor. Side effects may include dry mouth and difficulty sleeping. Ask your doctor if Zyban is right for you because it can help you quit smoking by making it a fight you can win. Zyban, you don't have to quit all at once.
Tonight, like never before, you can relax and not worry if your dentures are clean. Because you started the day with new Fix-It and Cleanser with ProGuard. This unique tablet and denture bath system not only gets dentures 4 times cleaner, it creates the ProGuard barrier, proven to protect against plaque and odor-causing bacteria all day, so that clean feeling lasts from morning till your goodnight kiss. New Fix-It with ProGuard. Start cleaner, stay cleaner.
Today we step on the gas in a brand new vehicle. with 0 miles on the clock and over 200 years of experience behind the wheel. ExxonMobil.
Great meal. Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas-X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster. Hey, want to go for ice cream? Gas-X, the power to fight gas fast.
In Florida and in Cuba today, there were what you might call rival birthday parties for the 6-year-old Cuban boy, whose future has become a point of very serious political tension between the United States and Cuba. Elian Gonzalez was at a party in Miami, well attended by militant anti-Castro Cubans who insist that the boy, whose mother died at sea as she was bringing him to Florida, should stay in the U.S. In Cuba, where Elian's father wants the boy back, President Castro went to a party with many of Elian's schoolmates. And there were other anti-American demonstrations today at the U.S. diplomatic office in Havana. The U.S. government, which has lately had a somewhat easier relationship with Cuba, is not happy with any of this. But the official Washington view is that the courts must decide what the boy's future will be. In presidential politics this Monday, a lot of attention being paid to the Republican candidate, Senator John McCain of Arizona. Senator McCain released an enormous number of medical records, you probably know, over the weekend, as he sought to deal with unfriendly suggestions that his time as a prisoner of war in Vietnam had affected his mind. No sign of it in the documents yet. Senator's on a bit of a roll at the moment, a flattering magazine cover today, along with apparent confirmation that he's healthy where it counts. And in the first New Hampshire poll, since all the Republicans debated together, the senator has very much leveled the playing field with the Republican frontrunner, Governor Bush of Texas. There was quite a spread last month, but as you can see over there in the right-hand column, very close today. Though it's only one poll, and the senator knows how hard it is to get a leg up on the powerful Bush machine. ABC's Linda Douglas is with him today in New Hampshire.
They are lining up to see John McCain. The man who was barely known just a few months ago now finds voters listening as he talks about breaking the grip of special interests.
Is there anybody here that thinks that we need more money in American political campaigns? I don't think so.
He speaks off the cuff, cracking jokes, even jokes about his 5.5 years of torture as a prisoner of war in North Vietnam.
Some people have asked why I'm running for president of the United States. My wife says it's because I received several sharp blows to the head while I was in prison.
McCain thinks the release of his medical records has put to rest speculation that his years in prison camp made him unstable. In fact, some voters like hearing about his explosive temper.
I'd rather have a man as a commander-in-chief with a little bit of temper than a wuss in office.
This state is like no other, because here voters expect to talk to each candidate face-to-face before they make up their minds. John McCain has been in New Hampshire 43 days and has met more voters than anyone else.
In New Hampshire, you know, I see him popping up just about everywhere, these small towns, Farmington, Wolfboro, you know, come and meet with him.
McCain has one other advantage. He is a war hero in a conservative state where the military is revered. His new ad links his courage in prison camp with his pledge to buck the system.
With John McCain, there will be no special deals for special interests.
Despite his surge here, George W. Bush has more than 5 times as much money and leads in national polls. McCain relishes the role of the underdog.
If you're afraid of losing, then you will do or say something that does not reflect your true principles or values.
New Hampshire may be the only place where he will be able to spread that message, one voter at a time. Linda Douglas, ABC News, Alton, New Hampshire.
On the money tonight overseas, a small setback for the Japanese economy. The gross domestic product shrank by 1% in the third quarter of the year after 2 quarters of growth. An international panel reported today that Swiss banks currently have 54,000 accounts that may have belonged to victims of the Holocaust. The panel, working on behalf of Jewish groups and Swiss bankers, discovered that some of the banks had withheld information from Holocaust victims or their heirs. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 61 points to close at 11,225. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up a little more than 25 points. When World News Tonight continues, backing down on tougher standards for schools. An alarming number of students are not making the grade.
Heartburn caused by acid reflux. some prescription medicines promise you freedom from the pain.
But what kind of freedom is getting locked into taking a pill every day?
Ask your doctor. He may recommend you take Gaviscon whenever you need it. Gaviscon tablets are different. They become smooth and creamy on the way down, forming a soothing, protective barrier that helps keep acid down.
Why get locked in to taking a pill every day when Gaviscon gives me relief?
Gaviscon, relief from acid reflux without a prescription.
Excuse me, coming through. See ya.
Now bouillon's moving from your pantry right to your stove. New Weiler Shakers. Instant bouillon you can use as a seasoning. So shake up the flavor with new Weiler Shakers.
All right.
Just when you think you have the latest computer, you don't. But for $41 a month, get an Intel Pentium 3 processor with a Gateway PC. And with the YourWare program, trade it in toward the purchase of a new one after 2 years. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and get a year of AOL included.
Yoo-hoo! Ready?
Ready for a better way to get my fiber.
Use your concentration.
New Phillips fiber caps don't contain sweeteners like most powders. They're concentrated, so they're just as effective as Metamucil. New Phillips fiber caps, effective fiber therapy without the powder.
If you're looking for horsepower, look at Chevy Silverado. Because Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. More powerful than Dodge. More powerful than Ford. 300 horsepower. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at education standards, that is, setting down specific guidelines for what students must know in order to pass. In recent years, almost every state has adopted new academic standards for its schools, but as states begin phasing them in, they're finding that a disturbing number of students cannot pass the test. In Los Angeles, 4 in 10 students would probably be held back. In Virginia, so many students are in danger of failing that 9 out of 10 schools might be in danger of losing their state accreditation. It has begun to make some educators wonder if some standards are too tough. Here's ABC's Michelle Norris.
Spelling test.
A lot of America's children have added a new phrase to their vocabulary.
You may begin.
Test anxiety.
I think about the test and I'm really nervous. It kind of makes me feel dizzy. I don't think it's fair to put that much pressure on kids.
In Virginia, schools will lose their accreditation unless 70% of students pass a state-mandated test. Teachers are feeling the heat.
They've told us we can lose our jobs if we don't improve test scores.
In Arizona, a similar story.
Parallelogram. Tell me everything you know about a parallelogram.
Only 1 out of 10 sophomores passed a new state math test that will be required for graduation.
They know that there's one exam, only one instrument is going to prevent them from graduating, fulfilling their dreams and their parents' dreams.
Across the country, the rush to raise standards by invoking high-stakes tests has hit a speed bump. Massive failure rates.
Why can't y'all let these children be children?
As parents vent their frustration and as the fear of failure spreads, several school systems are reassessing their tough stance on testing. Virginia, Arizona, New York, and Massachusetts, as well as individual districts in California, Georgia, and North Carolina, all are thinking about lowering the penalty for failing to meet higher expectations.
Does it tell us anything else?
Educators realize that in many cases, schools were required to meet higher standards before they had the tools to succeed.
What we are doing in this country is holding children responsible for the failures, the mistakes, and the bad ideas of adults.
Testing advocates say the high failure rate on these high-stakes exams is unfortunate but necessary because it identifies the students and the schools that need help.
We must do this. This is what we owe our children. So there's no reason for us to say, well, you're right, they didn't pass, and therefore we as adults are going to back off of our responsibility. We just have to do a better job in teaching them.
So far, America's experiment with high-stakes tests has taught a painful lesson. Raising standards is only the first step toward raising student achievement. Michelle Norris, ABC News, Lorton, Virginia.
Not pain everywhere about this. Let's continue. In Milwaukee, for example, the schools came up against this, and they took it as a challenge. Here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
The first time Milwaukee gave its high school students math proficiency tests, 4 out of every 5 students failed. But instead of dumbing down the tests, the district stuck with it. And today, 90% of the students pass.
We were able to raise the bar, and students were able to meet those expectations.
Divide that, you get 60 kilometers.
In the 4 years since that dismal beginning, the school district has added new math labs, after-school tutoring, and lessons specifically aimed at teaching the material covered in the test.
I can do this. I can say, I've done this before, and, you know, I've done it.
Milwaukee gives the students 3 opportunities, not 1, to pass the test. Officials claim it is not an easy way out, just a better way to know what a student still needs.
We look at it as multiple assessments with multiple opportunities. So it's not one high-stakes test taken in the senior year, 15 hours long, and if you fail it, you're done.
What you're given is a pie graph with no measurements on it.
Some critics say too much of Milwaukee's curriculum is geared toward getting students to pass the test at the expense of a broader educational experience, which at least some of them could handle. But school leaders say the bottom line is they're graduating students who can operate competently in the real world. Jackie Judd, ABC News.
Closer look at standards. When we come back, frustrated with all the talk about Y2K? What do you think they were talking about at the beginning of this millennium?
I was hurting. My antacid didn't do the whole job. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer.
Only Alka-Seltzer relieves heartburn and pain and has the effervescent power to speed relief.
Made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
Nobody does it like you.
Wind Tunnel by Hoover is here. It's breakthrough technology. Tests show it picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright.
Nobody
Wind Tunnel by Hoover.
does it like you.
The hot flashes got pretty bad. Night sweats were ruining my sleep. Vaginal dryness made intimacy uncomfortable. And I was worried that estrogen loss at menopause could lead to osteoporosis, a long-term health problem. Menopause is complicated. Talking to my doctor helped. For me, she prescribed Prempro. It's relieving my uncomfortable symptoms, and along with calcium and exercise, helping prevent osteoporosis.
Prempro is only for women who have not had a hysterectomy. Prempro is not for every woman. You should not take Prempro if you've had any breast or uterine cancer, abnormal vaginal bleeding, abnormal blood clotting, liver or heart disease, stroke, or if you think or know you are pregnant. Tell your doctor about your personal and family medical history. Side effects include blood clots, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, breast tenderness, irregular bleeding, and headache. For more information, talk to your doctor about Prempro or call.
I'm glad my doctor prescribed Prempro. Now I'm feeling great. For me, it's Prempro.
What are you looking at, cable? Just getting good.
3 minutes a week.
Ah, DirecTV. Hey, everybody. This is Tim. Well, DirecTV's got all your favorite cable channels. Plus, now you get 2 free months of 32 premium movie channels, including 7 HBO, 4 Stars, and 5 Showtime channels with no long-term commitment. DirecTV. What are you looking at?
What's my secret to great tasting Alfredo sauce? I start from scratch.
Introducing new Alfredo sauce from Classico, inspired by the made-from-scratch recipes of Rome.
First, I take cream so fresh, my little Angelina is still sleeping.
New Classico Alfredo has a creamy, made-from-scratch taste.
Then, I blend with Parmesan, aged as beautifully as my Aunt Sophia.
New Classico Alfredo sauce. Made from scratch taste makes it Classico.
You know my friend Mr. Moretti. He worries about the arthritis pain in my hands. So he came with me to the doctor. Now I am on a wonderful treatment.
Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief. It works as well as the leading arthritis prescription, but is much gentler to your stomach.
Mr. Moretti says I have beautiful hands.
Tylenol Arthritis. Take comfort in our strength.
Finally from us this evening, Y1K. No, not Y2K, Y1. It depends on the millennium. We read some very imaginative and often amusing stories several months ago when the Wall Street Journal had a special section, as it might have been written on January the 1st, 1000, which is what set our Robert Krulwich to pondering what people were really worried about 1,000 years ago.
Just before the last millennium, back in 988, Mount Vesuvius in Italy erupted. Not just once, but again in 991, and again in 999. Surely, wrote the monk Rudolphus Glaber, these are the signs and wonders that foretell the second coming of Christ and the apocalypse. The end of time could come at midnight, December 31st, 999. And as the minutes ticked down that night 1,000 years ago, how many people were actually frightened? How many panicked? Or more to the point, how many noticed? Not the 75 million people in China who called that year the year of the pig, not the 60 million who lived in Islamic Arabia and in North Africa where the year was 391, nor millions of Indians and Africans who knew nothing of Jesus and so were not expecting his return. It was only Christians, mostly over in Europe and Byzantium, who might have expected a major drama that New Year's Eve. The little drama that everybody finds easy to follow, the flip from 999 to 1000, the odometer drama, that didn't happen 1,000 years ago because numbers were written in Roman letters, so the year 999 looked like this, and at midnight it would have changed to this. M is the symbol for 1,000. Actually, the switch from 15 letters to 1 is pretty dramatic if you knew how to count. But in Christian countries 1,000 years ago, hardly anybody could count, and that's the point. 1,000 years ago, most people didn't have calendars, didn't know it was 999, didn't know it was December, didn't know it was New Year's Eve. So how many people panicked 1,000 years ago on December 31st? Well, if there was a panic, it was either very quiet or very, very small. Robert Krulwich, ABC News.
Thank you for watching this special edition of World News Tonight, this century's edition on Channel 2. Don't forget Channel 2 News at 11. I'm Peter Jennings. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening and that we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
From ABC News tomorrow, Donald Trump. His political life is making news, but how's his personal life affecting his presidential bid? His girlfriend speaks out candidly on Good Morning America tomorrow. And on World News Tonight, keeping a 6-year-old from going home. The struggle between the U.S. and Cuba. Is the U.S. wrong to keep him? Watch World News Tonight. This has been a press...